So, when you're planning a trip, maybe it's somewhere really adventurous, far-flung, or maybe just, a relaxing beach holiday somewhere sunny. Doesn't that little question often pop into your head, that kind of nagging thought? How likely am I actually going to get ill while I'm away? It's a totally universal thing, right? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into one traveler's really candid perspective. It's often quite funny, actually, but also surprisingly medically sound, about dealing with what they call the notorious travel bug.
Yeah.
Basically, any sort of unexpected illness or just feeling rough that crops up when you're traveling.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think makes this source so interesting. Because they come right out and say it. Their simple answer is yes, you will get ill traveling.
Whoa, okay, straight to the point.
Right. But the key thing here is it's not meant to sound alarming. It's not panic stations. Instead, this traveler kind of frames it as, almost an inevitable thing. A natural response our bodies have to new places. And we'll get into the why of that, things like different water minerals being in shared spaces like planes, and how this person sort of sees these things not as major problems, but just, part of the whole adventure.
Okay, got it. So our mission then for this deep dive, we want to explore these different kinds of travel bugs that this person has run into, understand the practical ways they've dealt with them, and apparently some funny ones too. And then kind of pull out the key takeaways so that you, listening, can maybe go on your next trip feeling a bit more confident, a bit more resilient, maybe boost that immune system thinking. It's all about being informed, right?
Yeah.
But not, totally freaked out. So let's unpack this. So our traveler kicks things off with this really interesting observation. It's almost a contradiction. They say, look, no matter where they travel, doesn't matter how clean or safe the water seems, their system always gets a little bit upset after a few days. Nothing serious. They say they're used to it now, but it just happens every time.
And the reason they give is pretty simple, actually.
Yeah.
Different places just have different minerals in the water. Yeah. That's it. Even if you boil it, the mineral content doesn't change. So your body just reacts a bit.
Huh. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And they also mentioned getting norovirus, that really contagious stomach bug. They caught that a couple of times on cruises.
Oof. Yeah, that one spreads fast.
It does. But they said, basically, they took an Imodium and, they were pretty much ready to go explore again soon after, which really shows this incredible level of just acceptance, shrugging it off almost.
Yeah, that's quite something, to just accept these minor bodily rebellions.
It is. And it's not just about being tough, I think. It suggests a real Shokin mindset, seeing these little challenges as just part of the story of the trip, maybe even making it richer. They do mention one time, though, getting a really bad flu in Europe. That laid them up in a hotel for 3 days. They called that the rare exception. Like the only time in all their years traveling, they were properly knocked off their feet.
Okay, so there are exceptions.
There are. And they did admit to one other specific time, way back in the early 80s. Drank some fruit juice in Bethlehem, apparently. Incapacitated for 48 hours straight. Missed a port call because of it. So, yeah. Well, the usual slight upset is expected. They acknowledge bigger things can happen, even if they're rare.
That's a really powerful way to look at it, though. Knowing the really bad stuff is probably the exception, not the rule. But, for those of us who maybe do get a bit anxious about getting sick, how does this traveler manage to stay so calm? Is it just years of experience or, a conscious decision to think that way?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Experience definitely helps. They've learned that if you can kind of push through the minor stuff, the bigger experience usually stays positive.
And speaking of common travel issues, the common cold, that old chestnut, it nearly always manages to sneak onto the itinerary for lots of people.
Yeah. Guaranteed for some trips, it feels like. Well, the source points out, when you're traveling, you're hitting new climates, maybe crowded planes, lots of excited people from all over the world. It's basically a perfect mixing bowl for cold viruses.
A petri dish on wings sometimes.
Yeah.
So what's their advice for the sniffles then?
Basically, don't panic, but be prepared. Arm yourself with hand sanitizer, number 1. Practice good hygiene generally. Simple stuff, but really effective. And they also suggest boosting your immune system. They talk about vitamin C superheroes, citrus fruits, veggies.
Right, the classic advice.
Yeah, and while, the science on vitamin C directly stopping colds is still debated by some, the idea here is more about overall immune support, taking a holistic view. And they say, basically, pack tissues and keep your sense of humor. Those are your best friends. It's all about simple, practical steps you can take, empowering yourself to lessen the impact, not just waiting to get sick.
Okay, makes sense. Simple but effective. So you deal with the internal stuff, the sniffles, but then there's the challenge from what you actually eat, right? The digestive surprises. Our source has some funny names for this. The Revenge of Montezuma. The Traveler's Trots.
Ah, yes. Traveler's Diarrhea. The less funny name. Sampling exotic food, street food. It's one of the joys of travel, definitely. But yeah, our digestive systems sometimes protest a bit, don't they? Leads to those unplanned pit stops and maybe some frantic bathroom searches.
We've all been there, probably.
Probably. What's interesting here is their personal observation.
Yeah.
They find that the spicier the food, the less likely they think you are to get serious bugs.
Oh, interesting theory. Like the spice kills things off.
Maybe that's the thinking. But here's the catch. For them, personally, spicy food messes with their system anyway, even when they're at home. So it's a trade-off. Their main advice is stay really well hydrated, be cautious when trying new things, maybe start small, and know where the local pharmacy is, just in case.
Practical advice.
And they add a bit of humor, too. Suggesting you think of it as your body's way of shedding extra vacation weight, reminding you the toilet is your temporary friend, and patience helps. It's that pragmatic, slightly funny take again. Embracing it.
Definitely one way to look at it. Okay, so moving on from internal upsets. What about the things that literally want to bite you? Our traveler talks about mosquitoes, calls them tiny buzzing vampires. Sounds like they have strong feelings.
Oh, they do. They say mosquitoes seem to absolutely love them. Like even one mosquito getting into a car makes them start swatting like mad.
Huh. I can picture that.
But it's serious too, right? Mosquitoes aren't just annoying. They can carry some nasty tropical diseases. Malaria, dengue, Zika. These are serious illnesses you can get from a bite. Big health impacts.
Yeah, absolutely. So protection is key there.
Totally. And the source is very direct about this. Wear insect repellent. Use mosquito nets if you need to. Cover up your skin, especially at dawn and dusk. They say apply the same logic for ticks too. And they specifically say embrace those fashion-forward mosquito repellent accessories, basically. Use DEET or a good equivalent. It works. Keep those critters away. They even add a little joke. Who needs a blood donation without snacks and refreshments? It's that humor again, but the message is serious. Be prepared.
Got it. DE is your friend. Okay, so from physical annoyances to something more systemic. Jet lag. Another classic travel challenge. That feeling when you cross time zones. Your internal clock is just completely messed up. You feel like a zombie.
The jet lag monster, they call it.
Yeah.
And their approach is very proactive. It's about adapting fast. Key tactics. Hydration again. Strategic napping, not too long, not too short. And of course, the power of caffeine. Use it wisely.
Standard jet lag advice, yeah.
But what I found really interesting is their positive spin on it. They suggest thinking of jet lag as like an opportunity, a chance to maybe explore things at odd hours, see nocturnal activities, stumble upon hidden spots that only people who are awake at 3 a.m. get to see. It kind of reframes the whole thing, turns this common hassle into a potentially unique experience, embracing the disruption.
That's a cool way to think about it, actually, making the best of it. Okay, and then finally, related to hydration earlier, just plain old dehydration.
Yep, the body's simple need for water. Delightful dehydration, they call it. Tongue-in-cheek. When you're exploring new places, you're often walking a lot more, maybe out in the sun, and sometimes you just forget to drink enough. It's easy to do.
Definitely. You get caught up in sightseeing.
Exactly. So the solution, according to the source, is super simple, but often missed. Carry a water bottle everywhere. Like, it's your best friend. Hydrate regularly. Just keep sipping. And embrace the glorious feeling of finding a restroom just in time. We've all felt that relief. They wrap this point up with a reassuring thought. Your body's pretty resilient. It can handle quite a lot, including these hydration ups and downs. It's about being ready, staying relaxed, and trusting your body's adaptability.
So yeah, it feels like we've kind of circled back, covered a lot of ground, just like a good trip. And the main point from our source seems to be, look, getting ill might happen sometimes when you travel. It's a possibility, but it very rarely completely ruins the whole experience, the joy, the excitement of seeing new places. The big takeaway message seems to be, pack your sense of acceptance, humor, and medical wisdom.
Acceptance and humor seem key.
Yeah, and they end with that great line. A humorous outlook is the best vaccination against the unexpected twists and turns of the travel bug's mischievous ways.
It really is a good summary. And if you think about the bigger picture, just understanding these common things, the upset stomach, the cold, the jet lag, it lets you travel with, well, more preparation. And probably less anxiety, too. Because you know what might happen. You can view these things not as trip-ruining disasters, but more as, just part of the rich experience of travel, like our source clearly does. It helps you build that resilience, embrace everything travel throws at you. Even if it means an extra trip to the pharmacy, it can still become a story later.
Right. It's all material. And actually, speaking of what comes next, our source mentions their next post is going to be about how to minimize the risk of illness while traveling, so practical steps. Which kind of leads to a final thought for you, our listener. What does all this mean for your own approach to travel now, armed with these insights, this perspective? What steps might you think about taking? Not just to cope if something happens, but maybe to actively minimize the risk of these travel companions showing up on your next adventure, your next bon voyage. Something to think about.